What if you can create video games using AI? Well, now you can. Grok 3 just came out, Sonnet 3.7 just came out, and today's episode is all about using technologies like that to create high quality games that are going to go viral on social platforms. So today's episode, step by step, how to do it, how to use Cursor to do it. We integrate with Supabase. And I bring on this guy named Alex Finn, who's gone viral, millions and millions of impressions about some of the games that he has created using AI and just a few prompts. So enjoy the episode. This is a big day. We got Alex Finn on the pod. If you don't know Alex, well, he's been going absolutely viral because he's been using platforms like Grok, couple prompts, and he's just like building video games. So, Alex, what are we going to learn today?
We are going to learn how to use AI apps as a way to growth hack any product you have. I've been building AI games like the last 8 months now, going really viral on X, which is amazing, which has led to good growth for my newsletter, which has led to good growth for my AI app that I launched. And it's through this whole new concept of like using AI apps and content to drive attention to your product. So we're gonna build some cool things today, and on top of that, show you how to grow your business with it.
So by the end of this pod, what are some tactical things that people are going to learn?
You are going to learn, no matter what your experience level is when it comes to code or programming or marketing or anything, how to build really cool micro apps and how to use those micro apps to drive newsletter signups, to drive app purchases, to drive more revenue, and to drive more attention to your social media. Basically boost everything with cool new AI strategies.
And are we building games? Is that what we're building?
Yeah. So I found just through experimentation that games seem to be the most eye-catching hook for people. And so I've been, over the last 8 or 9 months since Cursor came out, building all kinds of different apps and creating content around it, whether it's games, micro to-do list apps, things like that. But every time I put out like kind of a game like, oh, I built a Call of Duty clone, or oh, I built a Grand Theft Auto clone, it seems that's what gets the clicks. And so I figured out a way to kind of insert that into my marketing funnel for my products and newsletters and drive attention now. I mean, I've gotten multiple retweets now from Elon, which has driven tons of amazing traffic. So these are some pretty cool strategies I've been testing out for a while now.
All right, let's get into it, Alex.
Let's do it. So let me first show you an example of what I've done up to this point. I'm going to show you how to do. So let me show my window here. So the first time I tested this strategy is with the game you see here. I call this a Call of Duty clone, a top-down 2D Call of Duty clone, where you can control the player in the middle, you can shoot enemies, things like that. And then when you die, it says game over, you're on the leaderboard, enter your initials. And so I experimented with this about 8 months ago, where I said, hey, I built my first video game through Cursor. I have no game building experience. Play the game below. Whoever has the highest score in the next 24 hours, I'm sending you $100, right? And so I put that on my X. I posted it out. Got a ton of clicks and attention because, people are so into AI content right now. And this drove about 500 signups to my newsletter, which is amazing, right? And the way people really have been driving clicks to their newsletter over the last couple of years is they build like a really good thread, and then they have a follow-up post that says, here's my newsletter, sign up for it. And that's kind of been drowned out, and everyone's doing it, and it's kind of, filtered, watered down, right? And so to really stand out in the marketplace, you have to do different things. You have to try new things. And so I've tried this new strategy of, using AI content, things people are really into, to drive signups and drive clicks. And it's been working spectacularly well. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do here today.
Cool, let's do it. By the way, I do agree with you. Like, when I see on X, for example, like tweet goes viral, and then the second tweet is like, for more of this, go and subscribe to my newsletter. Like, that's not working. It's not working anymore.
No, I started my newsletter 3 years ago. I'm up to 30,000 subscribers now. And like, it was growing like hotcakes 3 years ago when I was doing that strategy of like, write like a thread and then say, hey, sign up for more. everyone and their mothers is doing it now. My grandma is writing threads and saying, sign up for my newsletter now. Like no one clicks that anymore. So you have to like stay on the bleeding edge and do cool new things. And I don't see anyone else doing this. I'm sure in 3 years, everyone's going to be doing this, but this is like a really powerful strategy. I think people trying to stay on the bleeding edge can do.
Cool. You heard it here first. Let's get into it.
So here's the plan. I'm going to use Grok here. So we're going to use Grok. Grok is kind of the newest AI model everyone's using. It's super, super powerful. It has really amazing tools that you can use for free right now, Deep Search and Think. I'm going to show you how to use those two to build kind of your V1 of the game. We're going to integrate it with Supabase inside of Cursor so that you have somewhere to store your emails, right? And then I'll show you how to launch it live on the internet so you can post it on your X. And within 2 hours, you'll have an incredibly powerful lead gen for your newsletter or app or whatever you're building.
Cool. Quick break in the pod to tell you a little bit about Startup Empire. So Startup Empire is my private membership where it's a bunch of people like me, like you, who want to build out their startup ideas. Now they're looking for content to help accelerate that. They're looking for potential co-founders. They're looking for tutorials from people like me to come in and tell them, how do you do email marketing? How do you build an audience? How do you go viral on Twitter? All these different things. That's exactly what Startup Empire is. And it's for people who want to start a startup but are looking for ideas, or it's for people who have a startup but just they're not seeing the traction that they need. So you can check out the link to startupempire.co in the description.
So as a quick intro to Grok, you can go grok.com. I believe these are completely free right now, but like a limited use. But as long as you have a blue check on X, you get much more use out of it. You get Deep Search and you get Think, which with ChatGPT, this costs $200. You get this basic, I think, for free with Grok, which is amazing. We're going to do Deep Search to build the plan for the game. So what Deep Search is really good at is kind of scouring the web, doing research, figuring out how things work and putting together a plan. And then we're going to use Think, which is their reasoning model, to actually execute on the plan and build the code, right? So Deep Search is really good at doing the research, building the plan. Think is really good at executing on the plan. So with that being said, I got a prompt here, so I don't have to sit here for 50 minutes and have a bunch of typos and bore the audience. I just copied and pasted from Apple Notes. Design a P5.js implementation. P5.js is a really cool gaming JavaScript framework, free to use. It has an excellent website where you can just test things out really quick. Implementation of a space shooting game. I feel like everyone gets space shooting games, right? Everyone understands. You don't have to have instructions for a space shooting game. You control the ship and you kill things. It must be extremely polished, and I want you to build all the sprites and assets yourself. I don't want to import any assets. So this will make it easier for us so we don't have to like go on the web and search for open source pictures of spaceships. We'll just have Grok build everything for us. So we'll make sure we have Deep Search selected and we'll hit enter.
Okay, question on the P5.js implementation, just because I've never built a game before. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you figured out? You know, do you have, just give me context around every game am I building? Am I using that? Like, I don't understand.
You really can use anything you want to build games. Like you can use, Peter Levels just came out with a great flying simulator that he built with pure vanilla JavaScript. Right. So you really can build anything with any framework you want. But for like stone cold beginners, like me, for instance, I like to use built out frameworks already. And the reason why I like P5.js is you can test the game quicker than any other framework I've seen so far, because they have this awesome website, p5js.org, where you can just click start coding. You can paste in your code and hit play, and you just instantly have the game going on your screen. So this is, I found, the best way to kind of prototype games. And then you can take this and put it in Cursor and make it more advanced, which we'll do in a second.
Cool.
So what's great about Grok in both the deep research and the thinking, Grok was unable to finish replying. It's beta. It's a beta.
What's great about Grok is it didn't work here.
my favorite part about Grok is it just doesn't complete the tasks at all. We'll do this again. It's going again. It's cool because if you've used GPT Pro, the $200 version, when you hit a prompt, I can go and like make lunch and then come back and it's still running and it's like just painfully slow. Grok's amazing because it can do pretty much anything in like under a minute. The speed of Grok is unbelievable for the quality of the output it gives you. And also the chain of thought it shows you is way more detailed than GPT as well, which is really cool to look at as it's going through. So it's going through the game design. It's looking at how other game shooters on the internet work. It's looking through different examples on P5JS on how the code works on there. It's looking at drawing techniques for sprites on tutsplus.com. Don't even know what that is. Just found interesting results on drawing spaceships. So it's researching how to draw each sprite. I'm thinking about making a spaceship a rectangle with a triangle wings and thrusters in the back. So it's really awesome to read through this to see how it works. You can see browsing for other example code it can use, and it's basically going to design this game for us. It's designing like the physics and like where the ship moves as it's going around. It's cool to see how this works. And at the end of this, what it's going to have very, very shortly is the entire design for the app. Right, so it's going to have how the spaceships move, what the spaceships look like, what the enemies, how the enemies work, how often they shoot, how they die, how everything's determined. Implementing collision detection, defining the enemy class, writing the pseudocode, and then we're going to take this, we're going to put it into the think mode, and it's going to build us the code, really nicely and really quickly. So they work really well together, the two Grok modes. Enhancing the visual effects here. Finalizing it's really, I love that DeepSeek. If DeepSeek did anything well, it kind of set the tone for like, okay, now all the other AI models have to put the chain of thought in because this is what people expect now. I really think DeepSeek had like huge influence in how all this works. All right, so here we go. It has the plan, right? Game overview, asset creation, gameplay mechanics, how everything works. Detailed implementation of how it works, the background, the bullets, everything. So what we're going to do now is like the colors of all the assets. We're going to switch to think mode. I'm going to pull in my handy prompt over here, paste it in, and we're going to say, now create a code block with the entire correct code, please. Ensure you're making all your own assets and sprites, and I don't have to import any. Hit enter on that. And so now the think tool, which is like, I visualize as like the deep search is my like senior researcher who's like gathering information and doing all the scouting. And then the think is like the executor. It's like the programmer for you that's taking that plan and actually executing for you. And you can see here, it's now taking that plan and putting it into the actual code itself.
And Grok, as of recording this, is completely free. Is that right?
Yeah, so there is a free version for Grok 3 right now, which you do get to test out deep search and think. If you pay for the premium version of X, where you get the check mark, you get significantly higher usage of the app, which the app is, I think, the best UI of any AI app out there right now. Incredibly easy to use. I think it's worth it because then you can also make money on X and stuff like that. But there is a free version where you can test this out now, which I don't think any other app, like GPT, doesn't allow you to use the search, like the deep search stuff for free. So pretty cool. So we can see here's the complete code. And what I'll show you, which is why I like P5JS so much, is I can just copy paste this and test it in seconds. I don't even need like an IDE to see what this plays and looks like. And then we can move this into Cursor and actually do some of the cool stuff like implementing the database, implementing the leaderboard and all that. So let's take this, put it in the P5JS, hit play, boom. First try, game over. So sometimes, it's not the best working wise on the first go, but I mean, for a first go, we got the bones of a good game here.
It also has like the Hamas triangle like coming down on you. It's like You trying to kill the Hamas triangle?
That is, listen, if you want to add a little extra motivation to the game, you can certainly imagine the other spaceships as terrorists. That's totally up to you.
Yeah.
Listen, that might be a good way. If you're trying to make a political statement on X, turn this game into, where you're hunting your enemies. That might be a cool way to do this.
I mean, talk about something that would go viral.
So I was actually planning a surprise at the end here. I'm going to do a spoiler on the surprise now. You're thinking 5 light years ahead now. You can use this to turn memes and trending jokes into experience in games as well. I turned the Mitch McConnell meme of him freezing on stage into a playable game as well, where you try to avoid staircases and collect money. And so this went super viral a few days ago because I took a meme and a joke that was working really well in the moment and just turned it into a game and launched it on my X. So a little spoiler, what's coming at the end. Anyway, so we got the bones of a game here, right? So let's take this. Let's take this game. We'll copy this. I'll stop. Let's actually do one more thing. Okay, I want to import this into Cursor. How do I set up the file system to get this to work? So here's something, whenever I put out these types of tutorials on X as well, or put out videos, I immediately get, okay, how do I launch this? How do I edit this? How do I do this? My response is always the same. Just ask the AI. It'll tell you how to do it. And so if you want to do something like take your code from Grok, put it in a Cursor, put it in whatever code editor you want, just ask how to do it. It'll tell you how to do it. So we're going to do that now. I got Cursor up. We're going to use Sonnet 3.7, which just launched this morning, which is going to be sick. We'll try that out and we'll have a cool game going.
We're using all the cool tools right now, all the hot stuff.
We are SEO stuffing the hell out of this video. YouTube's algorithm is going to just be putting this in front of everyone on planet Earth after they scan through what we're saying. Okay, let's see. Okay, so create a project directory, create the HTML file, and create the JavaScript file and run the game. All right, I'm going to switch over to Cursor now and we'll start building this out. I'll follow these instructions. So share.
And while you're doing this, what level of developer would you say you are?
I'm going to be honest. I am a advanced developer. I've been coding my whole career. I have a computer science degree. I was a developer right out of school. So I am really experienced at coding. I just launched an AI app. I built my entire self. So I know coding really well. But I will say this. I've been using AI nonstop for a couple years now. You don't need any experience to do this. What I'm showing you here, I'm showing you from beginning to end everything you need to do to launch a game. And I would argue nothing I've done so far is very technically sophisticated or any sort of experience is required. AI is that advanced now where if there's any gaps in your knowledge you have, you just say, hey, how do I do this? And it'll fill that gap for you. So I really don't think you need advanced knowledge to do this.
Cool. That's what we like to hear on this channel.
Exactly. I got Cursor open. So I'm going to, over on the side of my screen here, I have Grok still open. I'm going to follow the instructions. I'll walk you through it. So first thing we're going to do is create a directory. So let's create a new folder. We already got the space game folder. So let's make the HTML file. So we'll do new file. And again, all I'm doing is just following step by step everything Grok is telling me. So it says make this file, copy in this code for the HTML, save, and then create the JavaScript file. So create a file named sketch.js, boom. Open sketch.js and paste the code in. So let's take our game code, paste this in, save, boom. And then let us run the game. To run the game, open index.html in a web browser. So I'm going to off my screen here, double click on index.html, and then I will show you my screen to prove that Grok knows what the hell it's talking about here. So screen, window, boom. So here's the game. Let's refresh this. As you can see, it is working just as Grok directed. Okay, let's go back into cursor. Greg, you would say that this is all technically pretty simple so far. No JavaScript coding knowledge necessary, right?
Yes. No,
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I was sad to hear that you're such an advanced person, and then you got to hit me with and I have a computer science degree. But you redeemed yourself when you're showing me this is anyone could do this.
Listen, it does, I'll say this, kind of hurt the narrative that I'm trying to tell you here by saying, oh, I'm a genius. But I will say that I could lie to you and say I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. But I will say this. I'm showing you how I'm not writing any code here. At no point during this will I write code. So trust me, you don't need a computer science degree to do this. All right. Cursor. We're in cursor. No matter, I swear to God, I updated cursor 13 seconds before this podcast started, and it's already got an update. Anyway, we are in cursor. Open up the sidebar. You get your composer. If you're watching Greg's channel, I'm sure you know what the hell cursor is. But composer is basically your AI agent that allows you to build whatever you want. I switched to agent mode, and you love to see it. Claude 3.7 Sonnet is in the dropdown.
Woo!
Never thought I'd see the day. I would assume, based on my experiences, you probably don't want to use the thinking model to do coding. Because I've tried O1 and it was just a pain to use. You lose a lot of speed. So let's just go with 3.7 Sonnet here. All right. If I recall correctly, when I just tried this game, there was no shooting. So let's start first by making the game playable, making it fun. And then what we'll do is add in the Supabase integration. Anyone who's new, Supabase, in my opinion, is probably the easiest for beginners to use database for apps. I built my app on Supabase. I've never used like a database before. Super easy to do. I'll show you how to do that. And that's where you're going to store like high scores and email addresses so you can put them into your newsletter if you're building a newsletter or whatever you want to do. Add it to your marketing list for your app, whatever you're doing. So with that being said, let's go in here. We are building a space shooter game, but it doesn't appear the shooting from the ship is working. Can you please check over the code and see why that is? I just talk to the AI like it's a human being. I don't use any sort of advanced prompting techniques. I go on X. Every other post is like, here's 20 meta prompts you can use to write the most advanced coding. I just talk to the AI like it's a human being. I don't have like any advanced meta prompting techniques. I just say, hey man, can you fix this for me, please? I'll examine the space shooter game and identify. Looking at your code, I can see that the shooting mechanism is implemented in the draw function. This should create a new bullet. Let me check if there are any issues with this implementation. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that command does, but let's run it. Let me check the file. After examining the code, I've identified the problem with the shooting mechanism. The issue is how it handles keyboard input, the keyboard down function in Pay5. Okay, let me fix this by implementing a proper keyboard event. Claude 3.7 is literally like 45 minutes old, so I just pray to God it works well, and we're not going to get into like an endless rat hole here. Okay, so try running the game now. Let's see, what is the new key for shooting? Main issue is key down wasn't working right for detecting the space bar. Okay, so space bar press, perfect. Let's accept this. Let's save this. Let's share the shooting screen. Again, no technical experience, right? Like that was pretty, not like saying, hey, change this line of code, do this. It's just figuring it out on its own, right?
I mean, light technical experience. Like you have to know a little bit of like what's happening, but very light.
And I'll say this, even if it's light, if something confuses you when it's light, you just go into Grok and say, hey, what the hell is this guy talking about? This AI, what does this mean? And it'll just explain it to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Oh, we're shooting. It's working. It's working. Okay. Downside, we're just randomly dying. I don't know why we just died. That made no sense. Okay, that worked. I always like to tell the AI, like, okay, what you did just worked. Thank you for that. Because then it kind of like trains the AI to know what it did was good. Because sometimes the AI does some stupid things and I'll say, no, you're an idiot. So when it does good things, make sure you also say, okay, that worked too. So you like train it to do those things again when it works. Okay, that worked.
Could you
One more.
switch back to the cursor screen?
Oh, yes. Apologies. Screen, window.
It's like, how do I know you're not coding right now? I want to make sure this is non-technical.
I quickly wrote an entire space shooting game during that.
Yeah.
During that one pause. Okay, that worked. One more issue. It seems we are randomly dying. Here's another thing I really like to do. I like to use the AI as like kind of a product manager as well, where I'll ask it a lot of questions on what do you think the design should be here? Because, when you're building something on your own, you kind of lose perspective on your audience and what people want. And so a lot of times when I'm making even small design decisions like I'm about to do here, before I tell the AI what I want, I'm going to ask it what it thinks I should do. So for example, right, we're randomly dying in the game. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, should we die when the Hamas triangles get off the screen at the bottom, or should we die when they run into us? Right? What is more fair for the player? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, that worked. One more issue. It seems we're randomly dying. Do you think we should die when the triangles, we'll say the enemy triangles run into us, or when they go off the screen completely? And so I actually, before I make final decisions on any sort of design, I'll just bounce it off the AI real quick. Like for instance, I'm re-editing the tutorial in my own app, and I've just gotten feedback from my audience, like that's where people are falling off. Like they go in the tutorial, they get really confused. And so I've just been like talking to AI, where should this be? Where should the tutorial be? And it's redid everything for me. It's just way better. The AI is just a way better designer than me. So I like asking the AI first. Let's see what it came up with. I'm glad the shooting mechanism is working now. Let's address the issue with the game ending unexpectedly. Looking at your code, I can see why you might be experiencing random game overs. The current game over condition is triggered when an enemy reaches the player's vertical position, but it doesn't check for an actual collision with the player. Let me analyze the code. Listen, even if you're not technical, give it a shot and just like read the code, because it can't hurt to understand how it works. So even if it's super confusing and you don't know what it means, I really think just looking it over and trying to understand a little bit of how it works is beneficial. I would never, the vibe coding trend is, you just close your eyes and type. I agree, but let's go somewhere in the middle where you do look at the code just to see what it does. The condition checking, if the bottom of the enemy is below the player's Y position. Okay, so it checks to see if it's below the Y position, then just ends. This doesn't account for horizontal position, meaning an enemy can trigger game over even if it's not directly hitting the player. Let me fix this. So it fixes it, checks for player collision, kind of cool. I fixed the issue with random game overs. Here's what I changed. Replace the vertical only check and has new collision detection. Accept. Let's test it out. Share. So we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere cool here. Let's try our game again. Refresh. Okay, that worked. Oh, okay, here we go. I was trying to move with the keys. All right.
It's working.
It is working. Kind of cool, right?
I mean, super cool. Dude, you built a game in like a few minutes.
It's a few minutes. We really didn't need any design skills. And I'd say in the 3 minutes it took us to build this is a lot more compelling to a general audience to get clicks than like a thread on X and then saying, sign up for my newsletter, right? Like I still do it, but like that takes like 2 hours to do. Building this game took 3 minutes. And I'd argue for a general audience on X, that game we just made, and we're going to make this even cooler, is more compelling to like get a click, get people interested in whatever you're doing. And even if it isn't for a click, I'd argue this is more compelling to get like follows and to get like more engagement, so that next time you put out something that's related to your niche, or next time you put out something that like drives to your product, they'll be more likely to see that on their home feed because they've already clicked on a couple of the things you built.
How do we change the design aesthetic of some of this stuff?
What are you thinking? What would you like to change? What's not pleasing you from a design perspective?
I mean, I think that the triangles need to go. That's one.
Triangles need to go. Okay,
like,
let's do this.
I don't know. I just don't think, like, to me, it's, you're not fighting against triangles. You're fighting against like asteroids or something like that.
Okay. So let's do this. From an artistic perspective, I'm the worst of all time. So let's go back to Claude. Let's have Claude do the design for that. So I think the enemy ships are horrendously ugly. They don't look like ships, and they don't intimidate me whatsoever.
Can I add one thing to this prompt? I think that it's helpful for you to give it the goal. And I think you should say that I want this game to go viral on X, and my niche is, people into AI products. And then I think you should say, what should I change with my ships, and what else should I change?
I love that. I absolutely love that. What should I change with my ships? And what else should I change to make this more likely to go viral? I love that. That's great. I understand you want to make your game more visually appealing and viral worthy, especially for an AI focused audience on X. Let's enhance the ship and add more viral worthy features to your game. I love that. And like one thing you can think about too, like if virality is the goal, which I'd argue this is the goal, right? We're not trying to build Grand Theft Auto 6 here. We're trying to build a game that gets clicks and drives people to your products. What are other viral things in the moment we can implement? Like I showed you, I made like a Mitch McConnell simulator a second ago, like thinking about which memes are going viral, what people care about in your audience, and that implementing that in here is really, really powerful, especially for something like Cursor where you can upload images. Like you can easily upload like a meme, say, hey, this is a trending meme right now. How do we implement this meme into the game? That's something we could do. So, especially if you're a business owner, I imagine most people watching this probably not trying to become professional game developers. They're probably business owners trying to get more clicks. So the way you want to think when building this is like, how can we get more current, interesting, viral elements into the game? Okay, so let's see what we got here. I understand you want to make your game more visually appealing and viral worthy, especially for an AI focused audience on X. Let's enhance the enemy ships and add some viral. Okay, so here's a little thing with Cursor, a little gotcha that bothers me. When I'm asking questions to Cursor, a lot of the times it just gets over its skis. For instance, I just asked, hey, what are your ideas for improving this game? And it added 501 lines of code without even like conversating with me or like saying, hey, here's the ideas I got. So I'm going to look what they did first. And then if this is just completely abhorrent, which I would guess it is, we're going to rewind and I'm going to show you how we can improve this prompt to avoid Cursor from being as forward as it just was here. Let's see what it did. I've completely transformed my space shooter game to make it more visually appealing. We redesigned enemy ships with AI theme. Okay, so there's 3 enemy types. Basic ship. Listen, I'll just say this. If this works, what it's telling me here in one shot, I'm going to be the biggest Claude Sonnet 3.7 fan in the history of mankind. If I said, hey, just make this more viral worthy and it adds like 20 different types of ships all in one shot in 500 lines of code, this might be the AGI moment.
How about this? What's your middle name?
Tyler.
No, Not anymore. Because if this works, you have to officially change your middle name from Alex Tyler Finn to, watch how I pronounce Claude, Alex Claude Finn.
If this works and this doesn't, am I allowed to curse in this podcast?
I mean, it's a free world.
Okay. If this works and this doesn't look like horse shit, you can bleep that out if that's too much. You can make like the title of this video, like working with Alex Claude Finn on building a game. That like you can just totally destroy my discoverability and name by putting that in the middle. We enhanced the player ships. So we added 3 enemy ships. We enhanced the player ship. We added visual effects, particle effects, glowing effects, bullet trails, animated stars, gradient space back. This would be the single greatest output for an AI prompt I've ever had if this works. Scoring system, level progression, power-up system, AI-themed elements, enemy ships with AI brains and AI eyes that glow, a game over screen that says AI invasion simulation complete, boss enemies, satisfying visual feedback, progression system, power-ups, polished UI, and restart function. I've never anticipated the output for an AI prompt as much as I am right now. Greg, I have to be honest.
They don't want this to work. They don't want this to work, but it's going to work.
If this works, I'm declaring AGI achieved. I'm sorry, but I am. If this works.
I mean, Elon Musk said today, I think, that singularity is near.
And what he meant, singularity.
What he meant by that is when this prompt, when you press enter, then singularity will be achieved.
If my computer just melts, I just...
Did you press enter?
I didn't. I'm building out this... And Greg, in show business is what we call building anticipation, right? Okay. When Michael Jackson comes up at the halftime show and he sits there and he stands there at the crowd for 10 minutes straight without saying a word. This is what we're doing here. So I'm going to hit refresh. And we might discover AGI in 1 second. All right, here we go. So what do we have here? We have a much better looking ship. We have enemy ships with fire trails. The stars are glimmering. There's a score system. I'm only seeing 1 type of ship, though. It said it was going to do 3 types of enemy ships. Maybe we got to get to level 2. The missiles do look like missiles.
I mean, I have goosebumps right now.
I'll just say this. Well, what's that?
Oh.
Triple shot.
Oh, wow.
I'm say this. Oh, my. Dude, now we're going super fast.
I remember playing games like this. Like as a kid in an arcades, like this is unbelievable. Different type of different ships right there. That's really cool.
I'm sorry, Greg. I might have to exit this podcast right now because AGI has been achieved, and I need to go like build apps with this because this is this might be the number 1 most mind-blowing moment I've ever had with AI.
Wow. And you're a computer science grad.
Yeah, take it from a guy who coded with C++ in college. Right. This is the most mind-blowing, maybe technological advancement I've ever seen in my life.
Right. By the way, you're flexing a little bit because you're actually really good at this game.
No big deal. I played Marvel Rivals for like 6 hours last night, so I'm kind of good at video games. Can we just spend the next 3 hours just playing? All right, I'm gonna purposely die in a second just to see what the screen looks like. We got faster ships come. Oh, is these like the boss ships there? The purple ones? Okay, let's just die. Game over. AI invasion simulation complete. I feel kind of cringe right now because like 3 days ago, Grok 3 came out and I put out a post on X. I was like, holy crap, Grok 3 is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And now I'm going to have to put out a post 3 days later that's like, holy crap, Claude Sonnet 3.7 is the most amazing thing I've seen in my life.
I mean, you're saying the truth.
The nature of the game, I guess. The nature of the...
That's showbiz, baby.
That I mean, I'm not just saying this to kind of hype it up on a podcast. That was the most unbelievable, I think, achievement I've ever seen an AI build in one shot. What do you think? That was unbelievable.
That was unbelievable. That's honestly unbelievable. Like I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It's crazy because like, what does this unlock, right? Think about what this unlocks.
I mean, here's what it unlocks. And here's what I've never seen AI do before. AI up until 2 hours ago was very good at following instructions. And what I mean by that is like, I feel like the benchmark for AI was here's an instruction. And then our measure of the success was how well did it follow the instructions, right? Like if I say build this, does it build that thing? But what I think we just witnessed that I've never seen an AI do before was it did creative thinking, right? I said, hey, the game's cool, but it doesn't feel like it's viral worthy. Like, here's my niche. How do we make this viral worthy? And it on its own, not only it thought abstractly about what my niche was and what would make things go viral, right? It thought abstractly about it and then it implemented it without having to be handheld through every single step, right? Before this, everyone who was in AI, hey, if you're doing something with Cursor, doing something, make sure you break it down into micro steps. Make sure you break it down step by step by step to make sure it's accurate. I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think you need to break it down into micro steps based on what I just saw. I was 100% confident when I hit play on that it was going to be hot garbage. I was like, anytime I've ever given Claude the instruction or Cursor the instruction to do something, and the result was this, what you see here, plus 501 minus 46, I instantly slam my desk and go, God damn it. Every time I've ever used Cursor and I've seen this result, right? Because I know, okay, they messed it up. They thought abstractly and implemented a really abstract, creative solution, which is amazing. I'm blown away. I don't know about you, but that was legitimately, and this is like an authentic reaction. I've never tried 3.7 before. That was legitimately incredible. So let's do this now. Is there anything that's better than any game I thought we were going to make here? Is there anything you want to add to that, or should we get to the Supabase part?
Let's get to the Supabase part.
Okay, let's do this. So we have an amazing game. Here's how I measure virality, especially on X. I'm personally very focused on X. I do have a YouTube channel, but X is my bread and butter. My virality measurement is, okay, is this Elon retweet worthy, right? Because that's the home run, right? That's the home run you get. You get an Elon retweet that's getting 10 million impressions, right? I think the game is retweet worthy. I think when Elon sees the replay of the game for 5 seconds and he's busy working on 40 different companies, that's retweet worthy. So check there. Let's now implement kind of the business portion of this, which is high scores and collecting email addresses, right? A lot of people are going to see this. They're going to go, wow, that's a really cool game. I can't believe you built that all on your own. Let me play it. They're going to click, and now they're going to give you their email once they finish the game. So, all right. That was incredible. Really good work. Now I want to implement a high score, a leaderboard, we'll call it. Leaderboard. When users lose, they should get an input where they put in their email and then their score goes on the leaderboard. I want to use Supabase for the back end. First, give me the plan and then I'll approve it. So up to this point in time, this was my way of getting around AI hallucinating, right? A lot of time when I give kind of a more complex instruction, like let's implement an entire database, it'll mess up and it'll go on a weird path and we'll just go down a rabbit hole. To be honest, Claude 3.7, I might not need to do this anymore, but we're going to do it anyway. So I always go, give me the plan first, and then I'll approve. So what 3.7 will do here is thank you for the positive feedback. I like that it thanks me for that. Added a leader. It's the little vibes like that, the little touches like thanking me for saying those things that I feel like makes AI so much more enjoyable to use. Adding leaderboard Supabase integration is a great way to make your game more engaging and viral. Here's my plan for implementing the feature. Set up Supabase, game UI changes. It's going to add a leaderboard, backend integration, visual design. So it's going to create a nice leaderboard design. In additional features, add a share to X button to post scores directly. That's cool that I just thought of that. Implement a weekly all-time toggle, add verification. Typically, at this point, when it starts giving me advanced things like this, I'd be like, there's no way the AI is about to implement this. But now I actually have faith and trust it'll do that in one shot. Okay, so here's the plan. Add Supabase, create the schema, add the leaderboard, implement the submission logic. Okay, would you like me to proceed?
You
and again,
betcha.
I don't think you need technical knowledge to get to where we are right now to get this pretty awesome game. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but yes, let's implement. Man, I don't know about you, Greg, but I am pumped to play around with this after. Build cool stuff. That was unbelievable. Let's implement the leaderboard with Supabase. I'll start by adding the necessary code to your game. First, we need to add Supabase library and set up the, so again, for people who don't know, I will actually show you this while it is working. Let me show my screen again. Window. This is Supabase. Really easy, free, like you don't need to pay for this really, especially if you're starting and beginning and experimenting with things. Like I was using a free version of this with like thousands of users on an app. You don't need to pay for anything. So I go supabase.com, sign up, super easy to use. You know, a lot of the kind of newer apps and micro SaaS apps people are putting out there use Supabase because it's super cheap and easy and fast. But as this is going, feel free to sign up supabase.com. You can start a new project. And then we will call this Space Game. And then we can just create the new project and it's good to go. We got to do a password here. Let's go with, boom, not bad, but the password needs to be harder. Okay, how hard do you, Jesus, game. There we go, strong enough. Let's just copy that because there's 0% chance I remember that. Paste that into my other Apple Note that if anyone was ever to hack, it'd be game over for me. Create new project. Okay, so let's go back as that's going. I'm going to be deleting this API and project after, so do not think about stealing it, people watching this video. Screen, window. Let's go back in cursor. Have you used Supabase before, Greg?
I have. Love Supabase.
It's awesome. It's so easy to use. Even if you've never like used SQL before, it's super, super easy. Great. Let's implement the leaderboard. Okay. First, we add the Supabase client. Now let's add the Supabase configuration file to store our API keys. Okay. Now let's update the sketch file to integrate the leaderboard. Unbelievable. Now let's create a README with the instructions. Great. I have success. Oh, this is cool. So I've never seen Claude do this before. Usually in my workflow with Cursor, like every time I implement or change something, I have to tell the agent, okay, can you update like my README files? Like I have a README file for like every feature and every component in my app. And I'll go, okay, go into that component, update the README with everything you just changed. The fact that I just built a README, put all the details of the game in, like, wow, everything. It has like how the game works, how to set up in Supabase, the schema. That is actually really, really, really impressive. Didn't even ask to do that at all. It just knows like best practices for programming. Great. I've implemented the leaderboard functionality of the Supabase integrate. Again, if this is one shot, holy hell, AGI achieved. Okay, set up Supabase integration, enhance the game flow, privacy, and security. Okay, so next steps, create a Supabase account, done, and set up your project following the instructions in the README. Replace the placeholder API keys in the config, so we'll go in there. Let's just accept all. I trust you, Claude. Replace the placeholder API keys there, test the game and leaderboard functionality, deploy the game to a web server. We're going to do GitHub Pages to show you how to go live here, and share your game on X and watch it go viral. It's cool because it's like remembering everything we talked about in the previous conversation. It remembers the goals of the game. It remembers what we're trying to do here. And it's like, it didn't have to say share your game on X and watch it go viral, but that's such a cool like vibe touch just to like make the vibes of the conversation cooler. I love that. The leaderboard adds a competitive element to your game and should significantly increase its viral potential. Like that's so cool that it like remembered the goals we gave it from a few messages ago. It wasn't, it never did that for you before, right, Greg?
No. And this, what's so cool about this is it does really feel like you're working with someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, I've used this before and I've kind of felt like, okay, I'm kind of like pushing it to get the result that I want. But now it feels like it's pushing me to get the result we want. You know what I mean? It's like, this is next level. Amazing.
You're right. It did feel like before, especially when the app got a little bit more advanced, it did feel like at times you were working against the AI a little bit, right? Like, no, got to do this, change this. This feels like for the first time, the AI is like, as you said, pushing me. Like we're working together and going faster with each other, which is amazing. So let's pop open the README. Let's see. Okay, created the account, did that, create a new project, did that. Once your project's created, go to the SQL editor and run the following SQL to create the leaderboard table. All right, so I'm going to, let's do this. I'm just going to go, actually, I'll share the Supabase screen so people at home who are newer to Supabase can kind of see how this works. So we're in Supabase. Supabase is a SQL database. And so we go in, there's a SQL editor where we can copy and paste in SQL and it'll do basically all the setup for us. So first we can put in this command, which Claude gave us. This creates the leaderboard table where basically the scores will be stored. Can run that. Boom, success. Next, it create an index for faster queries. Let's pop that in, run, boom. Add security so people can't mess with other people's scores, boom. Allow anyone to insert scores. Okay, so allow people to insert their own scores, boom. And allow anyone to read scores. So this is all in the README file that Claude generated. And I'm just following it step by step. You don't really need to know how any of this works. You just kind of follow it and you're good to go. And then go to project settings API to get your API credentials. So we'll go project settings, and then we'll go API to get your credentials. I'll be deleting this project after. And then, so copy your project URL and anon key. So project URL. I'm going to switch back over to cursor so you can see me put this in. Okay, so copy your project URL anon key, open the Supabase config and replace the placeholders. Okay, so we're in here, Supabase URL. Paste that in. And then the anon key, copy. Paste that in. Cool. Save. Let's see what we got here. Run the game. Man, if this works, holy hell. Most of the game on the web server, you can use GitHub Pages. All right, so let's just test it first. I did notice it doesn't have, I don't think it had the email input unless let's just see. Let's check out the table. Oh, it does have an email field in the table. Okay. All right, let's give this another shot, shall we?
Let her rip.
I swear if this works, man. Whew. All right. Give us a refresh. Okay, now it's Is this full screen now, or we just have a bug? We might just have a bug. All right, Claude's not perfect. Even the AI is not perfect. That's fine. I forgive Claude. Oh, okay. So the game's not working, but clearly we died in the background somewhere. Your score 0. Enter your email to save the score. Okay, we have a small issue. I can't type anything. Let me just type it. Maybe it's just like the inputs. Oh, just please. Okay, so a couple things not working. Let's debug it. Good. I'm glad this isn't perfect, so I can show people at home how to debug it. Back in the cursor. Okay, a couple issues. First, I'm not seeing the game anymore. When I run it, it's just a blue screen and nothing else. And then eventually the end game shows up. Okay. So we're going to fix it. You just tell Claude exactly what's not working, what you're experiencing, and it just goes and fixes it. I see the issue. The problem is that we've modified the canvas setup, but there's an issue with how it's being attached to the DOM. Let's fix it anyway. Okay. Pretty simple. Let's see what we got here. One line of code. Now let's fix the Supabase client initialization, as there might be an issue with how it's being created. Even though this didn't work, I mean, with 3.5, we would have had 20 of these issues so far up to this point, and this would have took 10 times longer. So the fact that we've only had one issue up until this point, I find radically impressive.
Totally. I mean, I blocked off 6 hours for this podcast, so it's great that we'll be able to get it done in just over an hour.
We just freed up time to play around with Sonnet 3.7 after this. It's amazing. Let's update the HTML. It's still got the speed of 3.5, which is really cool. When with 0.3, when they upgraded to 0.3 mini and all that, the speed slowed down. What's cool about this though is it seems to be just like 3.5, just better, smarter, faster. Let's run a quick test to see. I wonder what it's. I don't know. I have a comp sci degree. I don't know what this command is, but we'll let it do its thing. I don't know what it's testing there.
Oh, you have a comp sci degree? I had no idea.
For those kids at home just tuning in, I have a computer science degree, which is probably the most useless degree you can possibly get at this point in time. $300,000 down the drain I had to pay for that one. But at the same time, at least I'm smarter than everyone. So that's a positive. Let's make one final fix to ensure. Oh, you son of a. Let's see what happens when I do a resume. Maybe it'll just pick up from where it left off. It came out 2 hours ago. Give it a break. I fixed the issue. All right, what's it doing now? AGI not achieved. What's going on here? I fixed the issues with your game. Here's what's wrong. Don't know what just happened, but we're going to test it out. Let's see what we get. Window, AI space invasion. Okay. All right, now let's just die. See what happens. Boom. Okay, enter your email. Can I type? Okay, so this was the second problem, right? I couldn't type for some reason. We fixed the game issue. That's pretty good. We one-shot that. So now let's fix the entering an email issue. Right? Pretty simple. Share. Next issue let's say, okay, that worked. Next issue, when the email input screen pops up, I can't type in an email address into the input. Nothing happens when I type. Enter. Let's fix the issue with the email input field not accepting text. This is likely happening because P5.js is capturing keyboard events and preventing them from reaching the input field. That makes sense. So the game code, for those who know, let me give you a little computer science explanation here for those at home. The game code is intercepting the keystrokes for the game itself, so that when you go to the leaderboard screen, the game's still like intercepting the keystrokes because it thinks you're trying to play the game. That's why I can't type in my email. Let's also add a fix to ensure P5JS doesn't capture mouse events when interacting with the modals. Pretty smart. So it thought ahead and thought of other like edge cases that could be happening, which is cool. Man, I can't wait to play with this. So we'll get this done. We'll get this fixed. Then we will host this on GitHub Pages, which I personally believe is the easiest way to like go from prototype to live on the internet as fast as other people use Replit, Netify. They're all good. They're all great. I work in GitHub a lot, so I just got used to GitHub Pages. Let's also add, let's add a fix to ensure the mouse. Let's make one more change to ensure the input field works properly. And I've fixed the issue. All right, let's accept this. Let's give it a shot. Pop open the game, refresh. Okay, we're shooting. Man, I even put the power-ups in. I didn't tell it to put power-ups in. I was like, oh, you want to go viral? Let's do some power-ups. Anyway, here we go. Boom, that's working. Man, if this works, submit score. Score submitted successfully.
Oh, baby.
Wow. All right. Here we go. Oh,
there
my
it is.
God.
There it is.
Wow.
All right, folks. If you're not building something and you're not playing with these tools, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop watching us. Stop listening to us. Like at this point, just like turn this off. I mean, don't turn it off. We love you, you know? We'd love you to watch it to the end. But honestly, like it's a shame that this exists today and people aren't playing with it. Like the people who play with this, put it another way, the people that play with this right now, there's like a moment of opportunity. There's a window. Like there's an arbitrage here. Like building apps here, right? Like there's an arbitrage. So I highly recommend people go and put some stuff out there.
Yeah, it's we're in this incredible moment in time where we have this brand new technology, right, that does these incredibly powerful things, right? We just witnessed it build like actually incredible lead gen in, I don't know, half an hour or so. But at the same time, most people aren't using it to do these things, right? And there's going to eventually come a time in the next year, the next 2 years, where everyone is doing something like this, right? You saw it as we talked about earlier with like the newsletters on X, right? 3 years ago when I started my newsletter, not many people were doing it. So I was able to get tens of thousands of subscribers like that. But now everyone's doing it. So that strategy doesn't work anymore. Like we're in that beginning moments of this strategy where people who attack it and use it are going to see unbelievable returns. And then in 3 years, when everyone's doing it, the returns won't be there. So you need to be looking for these opportunities where they're really powerful and not many people are doing it. Because as you said, that's the arbitrage opportunity. It's pretty mind-blowing. I'm actively getting mind blown as we do this. So, Greg, should we show them how to quickly put it live on the internet, or is that the best next step you think here?
Yeah, I mean, we need to close the loop on that for sure.
That's the number one feedback I get when I'm putting YouTube videos out and coding stuff is like, but you don't show how to put it live. Okay, yeah. Fine, we'll do it. We'll put it live. And it's also like, if you're watching Greg's podcast, like this is amazing educational content. If you're just watching this and consuming educational content and then you're not doing anything with it, what are you doing? What's the point?
Agreed.
You got to take action, man. Okay, this is amazing. I'm seriously blown away. Last step here. So for those who don't know, I'm sure you got a sophisticated audience, but for those who don't know, just in case, GitHub, basically the only code repository on the internet. It's where you store your code. It's where you can run your code from. Anyone, they put their code on GitHub. So good to be familiar with it if you're starting to do something like this. But last step here, I want to host this on GitHub Pages so other people can play the game. How do we do that? Bada bing, bada boom. Claude, I'm sure will do this. Incredible. This is probably the easiest step out of all of them. I'm thrilled you're happy with the game. Let's set up GitHub Pages to host your game so others can play it. Here's how to do it. So we're going to set up Git init, run. Now let's create a git ignore to exclude unnecessary files. Now let's add your files to the Git repository, run. And I'm sure in a second here, it's going to have us go into GitHub and set up a repository, create a GitHub repository and push your code. Okay. So we are going to go to GitHub and I will show the folks at home how to do this if they're new. Screen, window. Let me actually pop open GitHub first. So we're there. Okay. Here we go. Window, GitHub. All right. So we'll create a new repository. We can call this space shooter. Space shooter is available. Make it public. We'll create the repo. Something went wrong. Okay, GitHub. GitHub doesn't want to cooperate with me here. Let's just try a different game. Email. Space shooter email. I just wanted a different name. There we go. Okay, so we made, what did we call it? Space shooter email. All right, let's go name your repository. Leave it as a public repository. Do not initialize the README. After creating the repository, GitHub will show you commands to push your existing repository. You'll need to run these commands. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to switch back my screen so you can see how I do this in cursor. I'm just following step by step everything it's having me to do. There's nothing too complex here. Let's do this. Let's open the terminal. Let's move this over. Let's change this so it's the correct command. I'm going to make it so it's my username on GitHub, which is FinA, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is spaceshooteremail.git. Git, and then we're going to hit enter on this and pray to God that it works. Okay. So we hit enter. Let's go back into GitHub and we'll verify it added our code. There it is. It's in our repo. All I did was I followed the instructions. We got the code there. And then let's see what we need to do to host this live. Enable GitHub Pages. After pushing your code to GitHub, go to your repository, click Settings on the tab at the top, scroll down to GitHub Pages. So this is what we're doing here is we are putting the code live so that it has a link and people can go to it and play the game. And then you can then take this link, and if you're on X, which, listen, if you're an indie hacker, if you're an entrepreneur, in my opinion, I think X and YouTube are the only two places on planet Earth that have the best indie hacking communities on the internet. I think if you're an indie hacker, you've got to be on both. You just have to be on both. So build and deploy. Let's see what it's having me do here. Under source, select main branch. So source, deploy from a branch, main. Under source, select main branch, click save. Boom. Okay. Create an index file for GitHub page requires an index.html file for the root of your repository, which you already have. So you're all set. Verify your deployment. After a few minutes, your game should be available at the URL provided by GitHub Pages. You can share this URL with others so they can play your game. Okay. So it is deploying right now. And in just a couple minutes, this should be live. Where do I find the URL? I think it will display it once it's deployed. So what's happening now is it's basically deploying your sites live. Here we go. And this is live on the internet. Anyone can go on this site right now. You can see at the top there and play the game and get their score on the leaderboard. So there we go. You know what I'm going to do, Greg? Instead of me going back and deleting this Supabase project so that people don't steal the API key. You just edit out the part where you put the API keys in so that we can keep this up, and then the audience can go in and play this game after if they're interested in trying it out.
Let's do that.
And then should we do this? Let's do this. Anyone who plays this game, after you put this live, 48 hours later, whoever has the highest score, I'll just Venmo you $50, right? So reach out on X, DM, whatever. Send the screenshots of your scores when you get it. Whoever has the highest score, I'll Venmo $50, right? Add a little competition to it. That should be fun.
Absolutely. I like that.
So that's Games Live. Now you can take this, right? You can go on twitter.com/x.com and you can go, hey, check out my game. Boom. And now instead of doing kind of the standard thing that everyone else does, which is here's a thread on, a bunch of stuff I copied and pasted from Wikipedia, subscribe to my newsletter. Now you're like, yo, I built this really cool online experience, right? Go play it. And now you get an email a lot cooler way, I think, than kind of a thread. So I think this is the cutting edge of how to get emails and all of that.
Actually, the way to do it is you take a video of yourself playing the game, and the tweet has the video, because the link is going to suppress the algo.
Yes.
Then after a few hours, as a second tweet, you can include the link. So
let's get into the X virality game, right? Hook. Wow. This has been my favorite hook lately. This is wild. Amazing hook, right? Keep it simple. Boom. People are like, wait, what's wild? What the hell's wild? I got to know what's wild, right? I just built a game. I just built an insanely fun game in just 3 prompts with Claude Sonnet 3.7. Here's what I'll do. Whoever has the highest score in 48 hours instantly gets $50.
Are you posting this?
I'm not going to post it right now live on here because I want to make the teaser video of the game itself.
Yeah.
And so I can put it in that post, because little spoiler for people on X, putting media into the post boosts it, right? So you want to put videos, you want to put images. So I'm going to put a video of the game being played. And then what you do is, as Greg said, you hit the plus button, right? And you just go here and go link to the game, right? Link for the game below. Screenshot your score and put in the replies, right? So boom, now we're getting replies, right? Now we're getting people to reply with the screenshot of their scores, which boosts it even more. So you got people boosting it by watching the video. You got people boosting it by putting in the replies. You got yourself a viral post. And the best part is, not only is it going viral and you're getting followers, but you're now getting tons of emails for your newsletter as well, which is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Incredible. Alex, anything else you want to talk about before we head out?
Couple other things I try to advance tips and tricks for people out there. Basically, every AI now, including Cursor, you can upload images. So I tried this before. I did this a couple of days ago. I think there's something to this strategy. I took the Elon meme, the go freak yourself meme, where he's like on the stage and he tells the media to go freak themselves. I uploaded that image to Grok and I said, turn this into a game. And in one prompt, it actually turned that meme into a game. So just a way to think about this is like, look for what's trending in the moment, look for what's popular, look for what's getting clicks. And AI is so advanced now, you can do something as simple as take the image, upload it to AI and say, hey, build an experience out of this and do really cool things. So I think there truly is something to taking viral moments in time, turning them into experiences with AI, and like garnering attention that way. There's something truly there. And I don't think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and indie hackers are taking advantage of that at the moment. I think that's really the next frontier of what you can take advantage of.
Beautiful. Alex, thank you so much for your time. You've been extremely generous. And where could people learn about you, support you, and just pay it forward?
3 ways. My X is what I focus on the most. Been working on my X forever. So at AlexFinX to check out my Twitter. I have a YouTube. I think it's AlexFin Official. I'm sure the link will be down below.
Exactly.
And then you can check out my AI content app. I built an app called Creator Buddy, which launched a month ago now. Helps you create content on X. It's super powerful. Only AI trained on all your posts on X. So it knows all about you. CreatorBuddy.io. So those are my 3 places on the internet.
All right. Well, this has been legendary. I appreciate it. And I'm going to go code some games.
That's what I'm about to do too. Let's
all
do
right.
it,
By
man.
the way, don't forget your middle name is Claude, by the way.
I am now Alex Claude Finn. I did like Tyler, ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. I thought that was pretty baller, but now I'm ACF. So that's fine. We got AGI, so who cares? Middle names don't mean anything anymore.
Exactly. All right. Bye.